Hang on, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Make sure I muted them, but I didn't unmute me, so make sure now everybody's unmuted. Good morning. It is Caffeine Corner, and I have my just reheated coffee right now. I literally just Ben, about a minute ago. And what are you drinking, Ben?
Coffee.
Just coffee. Okay. Anything in it? Any kind of spike or anything, or just coffee?
I've been using almond-based creamer, and then I have these flavor pumps. You ever seen those? Like,
of course,
things you pump
absolutely.
Flavor.
Starbucks.
I found some 0-calorie ones, like without any sugar, and I use those to kind of sweeten it a little bit.
I like hazelnut. I like the hazelnut creamer, and I do like the pump sweetener rather than like a sugar. But I use Sweet and Low to sweeten mine, or honey sometimes. But yeah,
if you want that almond flavor but also want alcohol, use amaretto.
Amaretto would be. Yeah.
I do like amaretto. My favorite coffee on earth comes from New Mexico. It's called Pinon coffee. And even though I live in Washington now, I'm addicted to it, so I order it on Amazon because it's hands down the best coffee I've ever had anywhere.
How do you spell that?
Pinon, it has an accent mark on it.
P-I-N-N-Y-O-N?
Yeah, Pinon coffee.
I have Mexican coffee, but I call it lava.
I'm Canadian. I can just switch my tab over to get the accents because French.
Oh yeah. But before we went live, we were talking about the poop coffee, and I just want to point out it is actually good.
No, I would try. Yeah, I'd totally try it. No, I'm okay with that.
I think it's in Indonesia or Malaysia. I believe it's somewhere kind of exotic. And these civets, which are not quite cats, but a cat-like animal, they eat the ripe berries off of the coffee plants, and then they poop them out, and people collect the droppings and clean them off and get the coffee seeds that have passed through the digestive systems of these civets, and they sell it as coffee. It's the most expensive coffee.
Yeah, no, I definitely know about it. Like I said, I've never tried it, but
quite the processing. I can imagine why it'd be so expensive.
Well, here's my thing. I'm wondering who the first person was to think of that. Going, hey, let's take these droppings of crap and make something out of it. The first people to ever try anything, they have my. I guess my respect, because like who's the first person to try like a lobster? You're like, oh, that thing looks like it's ugly as hell. I'm not gonna eat that. Oh, it's delicious.
Listen, if you're a human being, one of the first ththings you do as a human being is put it in your mouth.
It's
one of the first things humans do about anything. You put a goldfish tank in front of a 3-year-old, that 3-year-old is gonna try and catch a fish and put it in his mouth.
Yeah, well, they're not. Kids are not as scared as like. I like potato bug. Have you seen a potato bug? Those.
Yep.
Okay, so the Jerusalem crickets. Those are the ugliest things in the world. I don't care if they tasted like Maine lobster. There's no way in hell I'm eating one.
Yeah, but somebody was gonna put it in their mouth.
Somebody ate one before. They did. They had to have. But
what about the people in Japan that had to die to figure out what parts of the puffer fish you can eat?
That's another thing, right? I mean, the fugi. I mean, somebody had to actually sit there and go, okay,
this mushroom, he died. Don't eat this mushroom.
Right. Somebody has a fungi, and it has like mushrooms. It's like, okay, good, delicious, not so good, not feeling well, and then just blank.
Yeah, the thing about the thing about the fish is like people kept trying it to figure out what parts they could eat.
And how to cook it so it was safe to eat.
Right, trial and error, man. Oh my goodness.
All of human invention is based off trial and error. All of science is trial and error.
By the way, people may have noticed we actually have a guest this morning. I haven't introduced him really yet, but people probably know who he is by now. Ben from the Drunken Peasants. Yeah, man, you've been a long-standing fixture of YouTube, man. You're like the old school. I mean, like one of the original. Not only just the person who done this, but you were one of the original, I would say, creators that kind of like set the pace for a lot of these types of programs.
I was probably like, I don't know, second or third generation, but it's been a while now. Actually, I just celebrated 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
I came on the scene about 2 years after you did. I had my YouTube channel since 2013. So it's been about 8 years. I think
I'm a baby.
but I was only using my YouTube channel to make comments on videos, right? But they were pretty popular comments. But it wasn't until I started doing my own like live streams and stuff like that in 2015, and then we had the Non Sequitur show, of course, and you were kind of our quote competition in Kyle's eyes, and I'm like, what? Well, how they competition? I was like, they do a completely different format. I'm like, that competition. I don't understand that. I was like, if anything, they're allies.
I got really worried when the Smoking Nun came out. I was like, oh no. We're done now.
You're like, oh, game over, man. It's man, you had a good run, man. You had a good run.
We got a super chat from Helios that says, I use Death Wish coffee. I also mix in cinnamon and ground ginger into the grounds before brewing. I also use French vanilla creamer to make it iced.
By the way, I have Death Wish coffee, and I like he does. But I put salted caramel cappuccino mix in mine. That's what this is in here. It's so good. If you've not taken salted caramel cappuccino mix, just a teaspoon or something in your coffee with some sweet. Oh, this is like a bomb. And then I usually put brandy in, but I have nothing in it today. So, anyways.
People are asking, Intrigued Feline asked if Ben knows about the case.
Oh, yeah. No, I talk to Ben quite frequently. Yeah. He's definitely up to speed on everything. So.
Yeah.
Well,
he can mock Ken. I mean, he can mock Kyle with the rest of us. So.
Yeah, when that first thing happened, when the whole thing went down with Non Sequitur, I reached out to him to get his comment on it too, just to be fair. And he didn't respond. And then I think something like, I don't know, sometime earlier this year, he finally got back to me and offered to come on and talk about it.
When he was trying to
earlier this year?
Last year.
Or maybe last year.
Okay,
Sorry,
I was gonna say, because
my brain hasn't.
That'd be like 11 days ago.
My brain hasn't updated the new year yet. It's still catching up.
Well, last February or something around there.
You have to remember that Kyle was trying to spin this narrative, and he was doing a pretty good job of it because he had some help from dishonest lawyers and some other people. And so he was spinning this narrative that I had him improperly served by sending the service something to a, quote, wrong address, to his old address, because a dishonest lawyer had decided to make a video, take things out of context, and then send it to him, and then it was used in one of the depositions. And one of his his affidavits. And so he was running this narrative that of course the default judgment should be set aside because he wasn't served properly. And we were saying from day one he was completely served properly. Who spends tens of thousands of dollars to sue somebody in hopes that they have a default judgment and serves them at the wrong address? There's no way that makes sense from the get-go. I mean, somebody has to be a complete idiot to think that.
It's kind of a desperation play. Like, that's probably the best defense he had.
And fair enough, but the thing was that even if that was true, it still would have been proper service. Even if it was, so when I said that he had moved, it was based upon his statement that he had moved in with his boyfriend, and I just went along with it. Again, principle of charity. I had no, idea in my head that why would he be lying about this. Come to find out, not only was he lying about it, he submitted false evidence to the court to submit support that lie. And so that whole narrative that I had him improperly serviced completely fell apart. But he was probably trying to get on your show to run that script that, oh, look, Steve sent it to the wrong address, although he never moved in with his boyfriend.
Past Ben. I don't think that script would have gotten past Ben.
I just pulled up the DM. I DM'd him to get his side of the story on June 13th, 2019. And he replied on March 3rd, 2020. So like 9 months later.
Well, here you go. Now you know why a lot of guests were upset, because I used to do most of the booking, and so when they were trying to get a hold of him or something, even some of the co-hosts were like, "Hey, am I on tonight? What's going on?" He was terrible at correspondence and that kind of stuff. Absolutely terrible. And you know how critical it is when you're running a show. You need to keep. You need to keep in touch with people. You need to say, okay, remind them, or send them links. You got to have your scheduling. He didn't do any of that stuff. He didn't do follow-ups. He relied on me almost exclusively for that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I only did 5%. So
I have to wonder what made him think he could keep going. And then what made him decide to finally give up? Like, he tried to ignore the backlash for a really long time.
Well, that's easy.
He basically, I think that was a defense thing. I think that was like a la la la, I can't hear you. I'm under my blankets. You can't get me.
Yeah, that's what he does. He metaphorically puts blankets over his head.
And so he was like, oh, well, you know what? The internet doesn't really matter. And it's like,
but he
was willing to go to jail over it.
Decided to leave. If you just decided to leave, correct. If that's not what
it's just weird that he fought so hard to like steal it from you, but then just ended up like letting it crash and burn anyway.
Because he didn't know what he was doing.
Because he didn't know what he was up against. He thought that because of he had a fallacy, and as you know, he's not a logical thinker. The fallacy was called he had a small representation. And so he had an incomplete data set, and he felt that the handful of people, the 4 or 5 people going to him complaining about me, represented the whole. And of course, those 4 or 5 people were, of course, other people that he had on and co-hosts and some shitty people. And we're like, no, that's they're giving you false information. Now, do I think that played into a huge part of it? Not a great part. I think his own ego got in the way. I think that he wanted to have control.
Him the ego, right? It's what.
No, I think he had it all along. I think it just exacerbated his narcissism. Yeah.
Probably.
So, but that's why.
All he had to do was like spend a minuscule amount of time in the Discord. If he had spent any time in the Discord at all, actually reading the conversations that were going on while the show was running, he would have never done what he did. Because
I think
what was going on.
It would have been much better for him. I mean, it would have been much better for him just to talk to you and work things out. But let's say he couldn't have worked it out with you. He could have at least done a thing where instead of just stealing it from you and locking you out of it, which is the lowest of the low tactic in this type of business to pull on somebody, because it puts them in a situation where their only recourse is to use the law, which time and money is unbelievable when it comes to that. If he would have just been like, hey, I can't do the show with you anymore. Either I'll buy out the show from you for X amount of dollars, or if you don't like that, you can buy it from me and it's all yours and I'll go away. Like, I think that would have been way more reasonable.
Well, yeah, and we had tried to do something like that, to try to reach some kind of agreement, but he wasn't in a negotiating type mood. It was his way or no way. That's how he operated, and and the funniest thing was, again, as you pointed out, he stole the show and then let it crash and burn. And so when you said there's only recourse is legal ways of going about things, and you're right. There's that way. There's also the court of public opinion, and I knew that as soon as he was doing this, the court of public opinion was going to crap on him. No matter how much people detested me, there's certain things that they're just not going to support, and he didn't have any support at the beginning. Yeah, none.
That's hilarious because he thought he was going to win the court of public opinion.
Yes, he did. He requested it. And so
I think one of the things that I think was beneficial was that you pulled, as soon as you and Red's Rhetoric and Boole, and who else was there? That first stream before you put out the recording of the Death of the Non Sequitur show, that very first stream when you were like, this is what he's doing, this is what happened, right after Kyle told you to sue him, because you called me and I was asleep on the floor because I had just moved and didn't have any furniture, and you called me and pulled me in, and everybody was pissed. Everybody in that call was just mad, and I'm sitting there like, this is fucking stupid.
Well, but
you guys had, like, because you pulled me on, you guys had like a more neutral sort of opinion from somebody who's coming out of left field, and all Kyle had was a bunch of sycophants.
Well, he should have realized it the next day when the tide turned against him the next day. He should have said, "Okay, this is a bad idea," and he should have backpedaled hard, and he wasn't seeing the signs.
Still telling him that people were saying, like, listen, like sometimes people get freaked out, and he was still forgivable at that point in the eyes of the public opinion, and as long as he had that, he had the chance to step back and reassess this. But when he came back and started talking to people again, he was being a crazy person.
The public opinion, though, that the public opinion he was hearing was just from his echo chamber that he was a part of.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and let me ask you, Ben, because you've been on this scene for a very long time. When somebody does something nefarious, such as not just stealing a channel, not just falsely DMCA people, which he's did to me 4 times for my own channel, but literally submits altered bank records to a court, forges signatures to a court, and commits perjury under oath in a deposition. How screwed are they in as far as like making a comeback to YouTube? Because I can imagine, people do some shitty shit and people do make comebacks. Don't get me wrong, but the people that support him at this point, oh man, they're going to get a lot of backlash. Because how do you support somebody like that?
It's hilarious because the first 2 parts you described, like stealing a channel and false DMCAing. If you would have been like, I'm talking about Brett Keane, I would believe you. But then the falsifying information, even Brett Keane is smart enough not to falsify information to
Brett Keane's smarter than Kyle. Wow. You heard it right here. Brett Keane, smarter than Kyle Curtis. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think Kyle Curtis is worse than Brett Keane in that aspect, because even Brett, I don't think would have gone that far to submit altered evidence.
If Kyle was going to make a comeback, okay, so Kyle kind of tried to make a comeback, right? He like a couple when he was reaching.
He was almost succeeding.
Yeah, he was almost succeeding. The only way he would have been able to properly succeed is if he had 1, changed his tune a little bit, 2, was a little bit smarter about his narrative, and 3, actually went onto a show or a channel or talked to somebody who was actually going to be able to trade blows with him, like somebody who had the chops to handle Kyle, and he didn't, because of course he didn't. Why would he?
Well, he was running he was running the whole thing about, okay, I can't attack Steve legally kind of thing because Steve, I am legally correct. I'm going to try to character assassinate him further. And that seems to be the go-to from Kyle and his crew. If they don't like what you're saying and they want to go after you, they will do everything to smear your character. They've done it to me for like 5 years. But it keeps backfiring on them because the people that recognize that kind of behavior, especially people that have had it done to them, they're my supporters. They're my staunch supporters. They're the people that go, hey, I've had this happen to me. Or, hey, look, I can tell that this is a smear campaign. And they don't like that kind of stuff. I don't either. I fight against that tooth and nail.
People resort to character assassination when they have very weak footing to begin with.
Agreed. We have a super chat real quick.
Yeah, Maximilian for 100 sec. Stayed up way too late during the Capitol Hill situation. Crazy watching from Sweden. Even more so at the lackluster response from Biden. Nice to catch you guys live again, Heart.
And we're going to dive into that too. But man, the events the other day, I don't know if Ben knew, but we were doing a live stream on the 6th. And the stream was doing, we were talking about how the election gets certified through the House. Biden, Pence gets up there. He has the mahogany boxes, and he says, "Okay, Alabama, Arkansas, these are the votes," and they officially put it in the record. So any member of the representative or the House or the Senate can object, and they can say, "Okay, we want to have a discussion on this, whether we should throw these votes out." And as soon as Arizona came up, Ted Cruz wanted a motion to say, hey, look, there's some inconsistencies or problems with these counts, and so they went to the Senate chambers to go discuss this, which is perfectly fine. I mean, do I think that he should have done that? Probably not, because it's going to be a backlash for him. But this is what happened. We're live on this, and during that time, all of a sudden, we're watching in real time people starting storming the Capitol building like some kind of Bastille. I've never seen anything like it. It was a full-on riot. It was a coup of some kind because I think there was violence and everything. That they call it what's the name? They have another name for it.
Insurrection.
Well, it wasn't insurrection, but it was sedition. But there's another name, a penance, or what is it called? I can't remember. There's a name for it. I can't remember. Somebody will tell me in the live chat. There's a name for that because it wasn't the government doing the coup. But res instance for 1,000. Go ahead.
10.
For 10.
For 10.
10.
This is a super chat. Thanks, Rez.
Thank you, Rez. So that stream turned into a 6-hour stream, and then when they came back that night to complete it, poor Landon Kirtnell spent 20 hours live covering that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love Landon. 20 hours. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
But so what were you doing during that time?
Right there.
I was watching it. I was watching it on TV while it was happening live, and then I did a stream talking about it later on my side channel that I do. Just talk. I mean, I kind of saw this happening. Just because of the rhetoric and these people that like to they like to LARP. They like to play nationalist.
Yes.
But then the LARPing became like I always compare it to there was a scandal years ago with Dungeons and Dragons, which got it banned in a lot of places. These kids took Dungeons and Dragons too far, and like one of them got killed.
I remember the movie that they had that based on.
Yeah. So that was like a made for TV movie based on something that actually happened. And it made everyone it created a hysteria around Dungeons and Dragons. But that's kind of what happened. These people got so consumed in playing this role that they jumped into it for real and committed a federal offense. They thought it was just memes, and they're memes in dumb games. Literally, like the guy who stole the podium and he's waving at the camera, and then he tried to sell it on eBay. That guy is such an idiot.
Oh, he actually took the podium with him? I thought he left it.
Yes.
There. Oh, I didn't know
sold
that.
the podium.
Yeah.
He's arrested now.
Oh, he's arrested. I know he got arrested. There were 17. So for when I looked, there was that. This was the other day, so I'm sure there's more. There were 17 federal arrests and 40 Washington arrests.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was a pooch. Is that how you pronounce it? Pooch.
I'm not familiar with the term.
Make it read it. Put the little thing and make it read.
I will do that. 1 second.
But yeah, come to think of it, like if these people had been wearing COVID masks, not as many of them probably would have gotten arrested.
Okay, let me see if I can.
I think that people are surprised but not surprised. I think most people probably would have seen this coming if they're kind of a little bit more objective, like looking at what's actually being said and kind of seeing the people that are buying into this and how kind of extreme it is and it gets. But also at the same time, I think there's a lot of people that are surprised because they're not necessarily looking at all of the parts. They're only just seeing the rhetoric and being like, it's just hyperbole. They're not really gonna, But that's the exact same way Trump got elected president, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people were saying the same
All right,
thing.
that's the
about
word
Trump.
right there, punch. A secretly plotted and subtly executed attempt to overthrow a government. I never heard of this term until recently, and I love learning new terms. In fact, I've been doing a word of the day since January 1st, and hopefully I can come up with 365 words that deal with philosophy, science, logic, things of that nature that maybe somebody would learn something new, and that's the whole goal. So I learned a new word, and I love learning new words. I've never heard of this term before, but they're saying more of it's along lines of a pooch rather than a coup de grace or coup de tête. I guess coup de tête, yes. So interesting, right? Chash, have you ever heard that term? Because I sure hadn't.
No, I learn new words on the internet all the time.
Yeah, it's a German word. They got words for everything because what they do is they just take syllables together and they make up new words.
German's great.
Yeah, I know. By the way, the video keeps cutting out. The reason being is the way I'm doing this.
Yeah, I heard that they also had like a gallows set up, and they said they wanted to.
Yeah, they did. People came in with guns. People had guns in the Capitol building.
Yes,
where like our entire legislative branch is meeting at the same time. That there was a truck full of bombs.
There was legitimately people that were planning on taking people hostage and killing people if they could have.
A few of our right-wing lol cows that we laugh at on DP were there. One of them went inside and streamed live from Baked Alaska, yeah. And Nick Fuentes may or may not have been there. There's evidence that he has
all the flags behind it. Then one of them's
That's Trumpster Bob. He wasn't there.
Okay, because that guy just confuses me because you think he'd just paint his whole room into an American flag.
He's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Fuentes was there.
Fake
was
Alaska
he?
got arrested, didn't he?
He was. Was he storming? He wasn't. He's too much of a pussy. He was outside still, right?
He may or may not have been in there. There's video of someone that resembles him, but he's wearing a totally different outfit than Nick Fuentes was filmed outside of the Capitol. He was definitely outside of the Capitol at one point. So it's up in the air. I'm waiting for Baked Alaska to get arrested. It hasn't happened yet.
Well, I'm sure he will.
I did see somebody had texted. I saw somebody post on Reddit that they had texted their uncle saying that hey asshole, I know you've been saying all this shit about Trump, and I saw you at the thing. I've reported you to the FBI. Get fucked.
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get through the 2 super chats real quick. Josh?
I think they're going to make an example of a lot of these people.
Absolutely.
And they can charge incitement. Like Nick Fuentes could be charged with incitement if there's video of him saying stuff right outside of the Capitol, that and
well, and they let
around him.
4 or 5 people died. Matter of fact, before you do the super chats, I was talking to somebody on Twitter, and somebody I respect a lot. So it wasn't like somebody I thought was an idiot, but somebody I respected a lot, and we disagreed on this particular point. But I think like the woman that got shot was a clean shoot. And of course, there's an investigation. There always is, but it's going to come back clean shoot. There's no problem because she tried to breach a barricade. She tried to climb through a window where they were barricading themselves in with weapons hot with Congress people in there. And I'm sorry, as I was telling people live with Landon, when you're in that kind of situation, you shoot first, ask questions later. They are not going to sit there and say, do you have a gun on you? We're not going to try to subdue you. This is the line of demarcation. You try to breach that, you're going to get shot and killed. That's how the Capitol Police are trained.
Oh, they were memeing. People, they were fucking memeing.
And so why do they have to shoot them dead? Yeah, why couldn't they just subdue them? There was people there, and I'm like, no, when you have a split second, you're not going to wait for people to see if they're going to get subdued. You see a person coming across the barrack, up over the window thing and trying to come through, they're going to get shot and killed. I mean, that's just it.
The dumb shit that they do on the internet for entertainment crossed into reality for those people.
Honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often because I see a lot of these people. I like the First Amendment and the Second Amendment auditor type things. I watch a ton of those videos, love them. And many of them doing them very well, right? But some of them I think cross the line, and I'm like, how these people are not getting shot? Because they think they're invincible. They think they can get away with anything. They think they have such entitlement. And I'm like, look, it's one thing to flex your rights and your muscles and say, look, I'm not going to ID. I have, you're.
These people were not detained on site.
That was weird. Some of them were, but I think because they were outnumbered, and I think a lot of them were on tape, and they're like, you know what? It's probably safer if we just get them out.
Seen of them like down with their hands up, like.
I have. I've seen numerous. Oh, absolutely. They had assault rifles pointed at them, and they were crying with their phones in hand. They were just crying on the ground. Yes,
there was a guy with There was a guy with a bundle of zip ties, like the kind that police will use to handcuff people during a riot.
He got arrested.
I think he's going to get charged with possibly a conspiracy to kidnap members of Congress.
He was the one hanging from the Capitol thing, and he was like, that was the worst decision of my life. No shit. Let's do the super chat real quick.
499 said, love and miss you all so much. So, mwah.
And what about
2 IEDs were safely detonated by bomb squads?
That's scary that they had IEDs. Go ahead, Ben.
What about Trump's law?
One sec. What, Ben?
Oh, I was just going to say, what about Trump's law where if you desecrate federal property, you get a minimum of a decade in prison?
Well, that's what I thought. It was 10 years. Yeah, that's what I was saying the other day.
They support Trump's laws. They support him so much. They're subject to the same laws.
They're going to get prison time.
So I found the screenshot, and so it's just reported my uncle to the FBI, smiley face. And then it says, hey, uncle name, saw that you went to the riot in DC. I remember you making statements underneath my Facebook post a while back saying that BLM was a terrorist organization. Well, seeing as how now you are a classified terrorist, I felt that it was my civic duty to submit your information to the FBI. From one peaceful activist to a violent and treacherous bastard, all I have to say is get fucked.
And by the way, they are calling them terrorists. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the whole no-fly list here thing, but but they are taking this very seriously. These people are considered to be terrorist activity. Now
they're actually considering listing the something boys.
Proud
What
Boys.
is it called?
Proud Boys.
Yeah, Proud Boys are being considered to be listed as terrorists by Canada, and they'll be listed under the same heading as like Al Qaeda and as like
they're not messing around. I mean, like as Ben said, a lot of these people are just memers and LARPers taking things to real life. But you know what? There's consequences.
If it goes to real life, then what else is it, right? So if you're reading a religious book and you're so fanatic about the religious book that it goes into real life where it doesn't belong, and same with I'm reading Twitter and now it goes into real life where it doesn't belong.
But the worst part is that all this was predicated on lies and disinformation. It was all predicated on Trump and a handful of people trying to convince the people, their constituents and their supporters, that there was somehow malfeasance in the election process, that they had the election stolen, that there was fake people voting and dead people voting and multiple votes and all these things that may have been a small portion, but negligible and probably the same in any election. But nothing to have swayed the election anyway. This was a false narrative. This was misinformation that got these people killed.
Yeah, and they're just dumb. Like the stuff that they fall for. I mean, they were already being set up to think that the election was stolen when in reality, Trump was trying to steal it. He got rid of like mail sorting machines and put his crony in charge of the postal service.
Yeah, and it's funny because and exactly that. See, here's the thing. This is what this show is about, Caffeine Corner, getting people to think critically. And even though we're doing kind of a dive into political scene right now, which we do in other shows, but I think there's an overlap because you hit the nail on the head. These people were not critical thinkers. These people were not smart enough to go, hey, maybe I'm being lied to here. Let's analyze this. Where's the evidence? And they weren't getting any. Even the people in charge of the political voting counts and the people that certified said, look, we have no evidence of this. Trump is just wrong.
They were trying to get.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They were trying to get Trump to commit to a peaceful transfer of power months before the election. And when he was asked, he would always say, "Oh, I won't dispute legal votes." He always threw in that caveat.
He obfuscated
legal votes.
Right. Yeah. This was a well planned thing from Trump that he was putting the seeds. Absolutely, he was putting the seeds of discord.
I love the poorly educated.
I think that's one of the articles we have, though, right? Is somebody who was in the White House talking to Trump and Melania when this whole situation went down.
Yeah, I have that ready to go here. Yeah, we'll dive into this after the super chat. Sure.
Yeah, once we get there. We got Exploratory Minds for 10 said, I'm betting that some of the very same rioters for Trump will turn on Trump very soon and riot over again due to delusion of Trump's power that he does not have. And there's actually already been a couple that I've seen pop up or I've seen talked about that they think that Trump is a traitor for backing down.
Yes. They think that they were basically betrayed. That two things that Trump did that they complained about.
He's pivoting on that now, by the way.
Well, he pivoted on remember he had his little speech that he did.
He's a waffle.
He did like a 1 minute speech, and that 1 minute speech was abhorrent. It was just amazingly bad and
lazy for one thing, and
it was horrible.
Just more talking about himself.
Exactly. Well, he is a
and it was like hours late. But hours and hours late.
But he made the statement that he regretted saying that there would be a peaceful transition of power, or that he capitulated a little bit. And he regretted saying that. He said, and what was the other thing that they came after him for? Basically, like I said, like he'll leave the office or something on the 20th or something like that. They want him to fight to the death.
I think a lot of this comes down to a mix of social expectation and education. So in certain parts of America, the social expectation is that you're all gung-ho and I'm going to shoot my gun at a tornado, which is like ridiculous. And it's kind of funny until they show up at your house and they think your house is a tornado.
He literally said he loves the poorly educated when he was first running for president.
Yeah, well, that's his base.
Yeah.
It's just you should try to help those people become more educated. That's a positive way to love those people, not use them because you think they're stupid.
Well, what do you think
And
Trump
73
University
million
was?
of them, dude.
Do
73
you think
million.
entire money is made off of
Do you
people
really-
being dumb?
It's-
Do
The
you
advantage
realize,
of stupid.
do you realize he got a damn near half of the half the people that voted? It was like 40. What is it? 47%. I don't know what the hell it was. It was 73 million people though that voted for him. The vast majority of them are probably very poorly educated.
Yeah,
what is
I think it was some people that always vote Republican no matter what, and then there were the
Yeah,
poorly
that's true. Oh yeah,
educated.
there's going to be people that always
Crazy.
vote party line. That's true.
So I see a schism coming.
I said the same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, well, and that's why, because
Yeah.
the new Republicans and the Republicans that are in power now, they have to make the decision: do we capitulate? Or do we cater to that base, the radical evangelical dumbass base? Do we want those? Do we pander to those? The Paula White type of base? Do we want that, or do we want to go for more like maybe the Reagan Republican or the more central Republican? They need to make that decision, because I got to tell you, the backlash on a lot of that stuff, even the evangelicals are getting shat on left and right. I mean, the Trump was appointed by God, according to them. He can't lose. Look at Pastor Alex, whatever his name is, or not, what's his name? Pastor, I keep forgetting his name because I can't stand him. Pastor, what's his name? The one that's saying Trump can still win.
Trump doesn't appear to have support of the military at this point, though.
Well, they won't. I think the military has they have an obligation to go, hey, look, we don't have to do anything that you say that is a legal order. Residence for 10 Australian. F the Proud Boys.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You're talking about the two pastors that Egghead talks about pretty often.
Yeah, what's his name? Greg Locke. That's his name. Greg. I always forget his name. Yeah.
And there's Joshua Fierstein.
Yeah, but Joshua
Yeah.
Wait, is Joshua Fierstein an actual ordained priest, minister, or something? I don't know.
He might be a minister.
He's a nutter.
He might be.
He's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, he's insane.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of kids, which is frightening.
Oh my God, his picture is of Trump now. And it's at MAGA preacher.
Oh
He's
God.
gonna let Trump use his Twitter.
Well, I mean, Greg Locke actually said that Trump can still win, and it's like, this was before the January 6th, but it was still January 6th. There was still no chance. I mean, minuscule at best. I mean, theoretically, yes. Practically, not a chance.
You know what would be
Right.
really funny is if somebody just put out a thing to all of the MAGA supporters on Twitter to just say, hey, everybody, list your passwords and names and phone numbers here so to support the president so he can use your Twitter account.
No, I even better. I love the ones that people are saying, hey, we need to delete our Twitter accounts in support of Trump, solidarity of Trump. I'm like,
It would it's like if you're at a football game and your team's losing like 100 million to 0 and there's 2 minutes left in the game. Yeah, you might be able to come back and win.
well, here's what
like-
would have happened. The only way Trump would have had a chance to win is if they contested each state, and then they go vote on the state, and then they throw out those counts, and they got below the 270 mark, and then it goes to the House, and then the House would have to have their vote, which they each get one vote, and senators would have, for the vice president, each get one vote. But the majority was for the Democrats in the House, so that wouldn't have worked anyways. And so it would have, it's again, theoretically possible and practical, very vastly two different things. Again, because they would have had to have all these votes thrown out. Even if they got Arkansas thrown out, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Even if they got those thrown, they would have to get like 3 out of 4 of those states, I think it was, or something, to get below that 270 in order to get the votes to go to the House. So the chance of that happening, now they could have contested anything. They could have contested California. Good luck with that. But why would they? What would be the point of that? That's not going to happen, to contest California. Yes, theoretically, they could have sat there and contested every single state if they wanted to, even the ones they won. But is that going to happen? No, of course not.
No.
Apparently they did something like I said on Parler. Saw something about a post on Parler asking people for their information so Trump could pardon them, and people fell for it.
That's funny.
God damn it. Here's the thing. With rhetoric. Rhetoric can be insightful. Rhetoric can be like awful, and it can be harmless. The point is that you need to think about it for longer than 30 seconds, or like think about it at all would probably be a good idea, maybe.
Jared says, let Benpai know that the Atlanta Falcons often had a 97-99 win probability and still lost most of the games this year. Crazy shit can happen. This was more like 99.999999999. I mean, it's statistically woefully insignificant for
Steve
Trump.
Is 99.9999.
That's my Twitter handle now. Yeah, that's my Twitter handle now. So I want to dive into the we talk about narcissism a lot on this channel. We talk about a lot of the psychological reasons people do certain things I have a friend that I talked to just a couple days ago, and she was just could not understand certain people's reasoning for doing things. And I said, you have to step into their mindset. You don't become like them, but you have to go, okay, if I was this kind of person, what would I do? How would I think? And Trump is actually very easy to do so. Trump is all about Trump. That's all you got to do. Whatever benefits Trump. It's all about him. Screw everybody else. Fuck his constituents. Fuck anybody that supports him. He doesn't care. It is what is best for Trump. As soon as you get into that mindset and you think like that, everything starts to make a little more sense, right? And so when the riots were going on, this I thought completely just framed his entire mindset. You want to read that? Anybody? Can you read that? Because I want to make sure you can see it.
Yeah, I can read it. You want Trump? Yeah. Quote: Trump was raging because the poor whitewashed trash mob made him look bad. Melania was arranging porcelain for a photo shoot. End quote. A White House insider gives a vivid account of the final hours of a deranged president in his bunker. He doesn't care about these people. He's just mad that they didn't succeed.
Yeah, though they made him look bad because they're like they look poor. Or they look,
bad.
And then, by the way, there's a lot of backlash for that too. These people are not thrilled with that.
They shouldn't be good. You got played. It's time to throw in the towel and be like, shit. Yeah, take the L.
It's kind of like Nero playing fiddle with Rome burns kind of thing.
Right.
It's not like Rome burning because this is not the fall of democracy. Of course, we're going to survive this. There's no question about it. But these people are so into themselves, the reality itself. They just ignored what doesn't comport with their wanting to have everything about them, right? So they have to look at it as, wait a minute, these people are not representing me right. These people are, making me look bad. They don't have the ability to put themselves in somebody else's shoes. Now, I don't know if Trump is a true psychopath or he's just a sociopath, but he's definitely a sociopath. Whether he borderlines on a psychopath, I don't know, but he definitely doesn't understand the concept of empathy. He's just his inability to even say, hey, look, these people got shot and killed. These people, died rioting because of the things that I said. He is a catalyst for that. If he had not ran these types of narratives, if he had been upfront and said, hey, look, I lost. I'm going to be leaving on the 20th. Good luck to Biden, and been very supportive. None of these riots would have happened.
Yeah, if he conceded, there'd be no what would they fight over?
Yeah, I mean, he also held a rally down the street and basically told people to go down the street and, march at the Capitol. I mean, he did. I think he should be criminally charged.
There is that one tweet I saw. Somebody had tweeted it out because the other guy had deleted it, where he said he was gonna fund a bus of 80 people to DC to go march on DC.
Yeah,
it was something Kirk. I can't Chris or something. I'll see if I can find it. I'll pull it up.
Okay, so let me kind of go through here real quick. Somebody wrote, Jamie said, I can't believe you actually have a case of Trump derangement syndrome mild, but I'm surprised. I don't, actually. I literally do not. I'm not one of those people that jump on the orange man bandwagon. In fact, I've never been that way, but I have to look at reality here.
The actual Trump derangement syndrome is a person that can look at this, the last week, the last month, the last 4 years, and not see a problem. You have the Trump derangement syndrome, not us.
I definitely agree. Yeah, so I'm not one of those people that think Trump is bad, blah, 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 and everything he does. I'm trying to resize this a little bit. I'm not like that. But I do see what's happening. And I have to go by what he says. He has said some pretty crappy things. You know? So, I mean, that's not Trump derangement syndrome. That's just looking at his own actions. All right, let's scroll down here. All right. As seas of carnage unfolded on television in his private dining room off the Oval Office, President Trump was raging. And by the way, I'm sure they use that word very specifically because that's probably is the best word to describe his histrionic behavior. I mean, he was probably raging. He was probably very pissed. Surrounded by a handful of loyal, what's that word? I'm not French. Jesh?
What? I'm not French.
Well, you're close enough. You took French. You have a French keyboard.
Conciliage.
Conciliage? Another new word. I'm fine when I don't know certain words. He watched as the rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah.
Astonishing images that shocked the world.
Conciliage.
Concilier? Oh, it's French. Concilier. We'll get...
Conciliere.
Ben, you want to give it a shot?
Oh, shit.
I'm literally copying it, but it's not giving it the French accent.
I don't know.
What is it?
Concilier? Concilier? Okay, somebody says concierge. Concierge.
Concierge?
Again, I don't do foreign words, man. Yeah. We'll get somebody who speaks French to come in one of these days. He watched as the rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol. Astonishing image that shocked the world and would signal the brutal denouement of his 4-year presidency. It was not the mayhem and violence that caused the Trump to roar in fury, not the dead bodies, including a Capitol police officer who died from a massive brain bleed after being struck in the head with a fire extinguisher. Far from it. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Again, all about him. And he says, far from it.
Someone's getting life for that. If they find out who did it.
Oh, I don't know, it might be up with the death penalty. Far from it, as the White House source told the Mail on Sunday last night, Trump was apoplectic. Doesn't care. Apoplectic is outraged. Is like when you like real this anger, like complete anger and outrage, and embarrassment because of the white trash mob on the screen made him look bad. He was angry, not at the appalling crimes they were committing, but because he felt embarrassed, said the source. When they first stormed the Capitol, he was enjoying it. These were, quote, his people. And I think this is actually probably very correct. I think he was probably, hey, look, these people are rioting for me. These are fighting for me. These are my people. And then when they started making him look bad.
I'm telling you, he would not say they made him look bad if they succeeded.
Oh, by the way, it's Italian, not even French. That's how bad I am. Intrigue Valley says it's Italian.
Yep.
Okay.
I also found the tweet I was talking about. It was Charlie Kirk, which somebody in the chat pointed out, so I was able to find the tweet faster. So thanks for that. And it's Charlie Kirk tweeted out, "This historic event will likely be one of the largest and most consequential in American history. The team at Trump Students and Turning Point Action are honored to help make this happen, sending 80+ buses full of patriots to DC to fight for this president."
To fight.
And he deleted that tweet.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yep.
That's a key word, though, to fight, right? I mean, that has implicature right there of something of an insurrection.
Giuliani said trial by combat at the rally down the street before the people went and stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, as these people, I guarantee it, they know words have meanings. They maybe not intrinsic, but they know that people are going to interpret them certain ways.
Man, I never thought Giuliani was so stupid. I never agreed. I never
didn't
agreed
either.
with him. Yeah.
I thought he was, I was like, okay, I'm not politically aligned with him, but I thought he was a well-educated attorney, really successful. He's just weird. He's very weird, dude.
Also a mayor of a city larger than most countries.
Yeah.
Population-wise.
He's making Trump look bad.
Right?
What?
He tried to ride that because he was mayor when 9/11 happened, was he not?
Yeah, and he tried to run for president. He didn't get a lot of support behind that.
No, because
Um,
he did like a decent job during 9/11 and then didn't do anything to help
so
support after the fact. And then people were
when
like, "What even are
he
you?"
was he was like district attorney, and he helped like clean up the city. There was like a big mob presence in the city, and he basically cleaned it up. That's why Times Square is now basically like Disneyland, rather than what it used to be, which was like prostitution and drugs everywhere. And
Right.
he used that as his platform to become mayor. Um, yeah, I don't know how being the mayor when like a terrorist attack happens qualifies you to be president. So I never thought he was really qualified to be president, but I didn't think he was this dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's
he seems
fair.
mentally unstable as well. Just not quite all there. And
If
again,
you
well, I mean,
if you
real quick, the whole debacle with the whole landscaping thing, that just solidified everything that you know about Giuliani. That made him look so
and,
stupid.
and if you look at this Charlie Kirk tweet, there's also honored to help make this happen. So
Hmm.
personal responsibility. Um, Sending 80 plus buses, which is implying a lot of fucking people, like that's a mob, full of patriots, which is, you know, their jargon for their people because they're not patriots, because patriots
Almost
don't
sounds
fight
like
for a president. Patriots fight for a country and its people, which isn't what they're doing.
it almost
But
sounds like a battalion.
that is their
Yeah,
mind. That they think, look,
you're getting flanked.
you know, like the whole well-regulated militia. They think that they are somehow
Send in the
called to action.
cavalry.
You know, but no, I'm
Right,
serious. They
right.
think they have a call to action. They think that President Trump and other people had literally said, "Hey, we need you to come fight for us, and not just like metaphorically fight. We need you to bring weapons and fight for us."
Yeah, there's a big culture of that in Michigan way before Trump stuff with the Michigan militias there. So that's why I wasn't surprised when a bunch of them got together and decided they were going to kidnap the governor.
Do you
I'm
think
surprised
maybe we
people
can
weren't
just
kidnapped
round
the
up
other
those
day.
buses?
What? What was
I
that?
said, do you think maybe we can just round up those buses? People are still in them.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
easier.
enjoy that people seem to think that they were going to go do this and then go back to work on Wednesday.
Well, and that's why I brought this up, the whole no-fly list, because
Delusional.
there are ramifications for actions, and
Even if they succeeded, they weren't going to go back to work
There
on
was
Wednesday.
there was one guy who wore his lanyard from his job
right?
while he was, and so they found out his name was right there and where he worked.
They didn't. But again, they thought that. Okay, look at it from their perspective. Like, the president of the United States has called me to action. I am indemnified. I have there's no recourse they could do with us. I have the highest person on the land supporting me. I'm untouchable. I'm sure that's what
They're
they thought.
not even supporting me, asking me to do this.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how easy this is to read to the outside. I'm trying to make this as clear as I can, but it seems to be blurry on mine. But I'll look on the outside in a second. But this is
Well, it's okay on the outside. It's a little bit like narrow, like it looks like you squished it a little bit, but other than that, it looks
okay.
good.
If they can read it, because It's
read.
but I mean, it's like, I love this. Who knew Karen would become a hashtag MAGA terrorist on the hashtag no fly list? I'd like to speak to the regional queue manager. These people were upset as hell because a lot of them couldn't get back. A lot of them, can't go anywhere now flying. They're on a no fly list for terrorism.
Time to rent a car.
Can they even do that? I mean,
Probably.
but
They could probably rent a car.
wow. I mean, can you imagine that? Especially if you're somebody who's a business person and you travel a lot, you're screwed. You're done. I mean, how does a CEO of a company who probably travels frequently for business things? How do you?
Nikki actually makes a good point. It's not
Nikki always
just that
makes
they're
good
saying do
points.
this for Trump. They're saying Trump is saying do this to protect your own freedom or else.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Trump tried to spin it as, hey, it's not just me, but it's for democracy. It's for you're supporting. Okay. When people say there's times to have not a riot, but at least a protest, right? They're standing up for something. They're standing up for their rights, and perfectly fine to have protests. And there might even times where protests to overthrow, like Jefferson pointed out, an evil government, right? I understand that, right? People recognize the fact that you do have evil governments, and there are times to overthrow a dictator. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We were never at that level, okay? But they're in their eye, they're doing a patriotic
these
act.
people doing the overthrowing if Trump was the evil dictator.
But that's what they're thinking, right? I mean, they are thinking they're doing their civic patriotic duty. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they've been lied to, and they've been used, and now they're realizing that that's the case.
So if you go to the hashtag no fly list, this one's I didn't listen to it, but did he actually say this?
Let me see.
What? Naga stormed. What?
Oh,
you treat
did you?
I don't. I
didn't listen to it. Let me listen to it real quick. It's only 4 seconds. Yes, he does.
Oh, I can't hear it. We have to hear from the outside.
You can't hear the sound, but if you listen to the outside, that's exactly what he says. Wow, what a piece of crap that is. How do you justify some asshole like this? I don't get it. I don't even know where you go with that.
I think that Trump enabled a lot of people to be able to, because a certain type of behavior became normal for the president, it made it okay for everyone.
Yeah, they made racism acceptable in their eyes. Even if it was latent racism, they were like, oh well, the president is saying this, so I can come out and people will support me. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. If you're a racist piece of shit, you're not going to get a lot of support as much as you think. I don't think.
I think the thing is that, okay, so I had posted a meme picture about how things are being, like, kind of the viewpoint of it's okay for me to do this, but if anybody else does it, it's not okay. And so they sent me a picture or a video of somebody getting shot, being like, people did get shot. I'm like, yeah, people got shot. Of course people got shot. You seem to think that I think this is a good thing. No, the point is that all of the riots should be treated and handled in the same way as best as possible, so the least number of people die. I'm not saying that more people who support Trump should be treated poorly. I'm saying that people who are being treated poorly shouldn't be getting treated poorly.
I agree. By the way, that was from 2018. It wasn't the recent riots, but I think the sentiment is about the same. But you're all right. That was from 2018. But again, those people are on the no-fly list. I don't know why this is on the no-fly list thing, but this is actually an amazing picture. I think this is a guy named what was his name? Eugene Goodman, and he was one of the very few that said, "Hey, no, you are not going down this area. Hand on weapon." He's like, "Nope, you are not going down this weapon because behind those doors, were the Congress people." That's a hero. That's a hero. When you got an angry mob staring at you, and you're like, "Oh, nope, I am, my job is to prevent you guys from coming down here, and if you come through this way, you will die." None of them did, thank goodness. But there you go. I like that image. But so I don't want to go through too far here because I haven't gone all the way down. I don't know what is on this the show, but don't
forget, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
But who's this? Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick,
he's
the football player.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the guy who got lost all of his sponsorships or his place in the NFL because he kneeled.
I got you.
Actually, he gained sponsorships.
Good.
But the league and a bunch of people gave him a lot of crap for it.
Did he only gain or did he lose and gain?
I don't know of one. I know that he became the Nike, like a Nike spokesperson.
Yeah, I remember Nike picking him up. Yeah.
Yeah, which is huge. That's like the biggest endorsement you can get as an athlete.
Nike,
the face of Nike.
That's a pinnacle.
That's pretty huge.
Absolutely pinnacle. Yeah. I like this. I'll show this. You guys can see it. Let me see the outside. So that's photo here. I love this. White man can't fly. This is Trump's. This is Trump's legacy right here. Now
there's the guy with his work badge.
Yeah, that's his work badge. Yeah, he got arrested. The middle guy got arrested too. Now he actually is pretty well known. The middle guy. He's been around the scene for a while. I can't remember his name, and I don't care. But this is like Duck Dynasty. It takes over the Capitol.
The guy with his work badge was one of the first people I heard of that got arrested, and that's because he gave everyone his name, his face, and where he works, and he got fired like immediately.
Shocking.
Yeah. I have to take a restroom break. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm like, when you see this, I mean, if you had one way to sum up Trump's presidency, this is it. This is golden. I mean, what is that guy's name again? I don't remember who his name.
The people on the outside can't see are seeing the picture, but they can't see what the tweet says.
Because I cropped it out.
Can you scroll it up so they can see? Because I feel like I feel like that matters. Yes. Jesus.
Yeah, the one on the right with the badge. You can see it right here. You can see it right here. That's his work badge right there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
One guy is wearing a mask. Two guys are wearing a mask. There's a guy with a blue mask with a phone, and there's a guy in the back with a mask on.
Well, I mean, this guy, like I said, this guy is well known, and so
yeah,
it's like he's going to get identified.
I guess he must have. I assume he also knew that. I mean, if anybody's got balls in this, it's that guy.
Well, yeah, because he's pretty well known in that, and I can't remember his name, and I don't care, but But you would think that, if you're going to storm the Capitol, you may want to wear a mask, not just for, but hide yourself, but for COVID too. But, no, these people are just, yeah.
I'm looking forward to how many memes are like, this is them shooting and then saying, how could Antifa do this? And it's the Capitol building.
How can people committing insurrection do this?
How could Antifa do this? What are you talking about? This well-known guy, people are saying is actually, I've seen a couple of people tweeting out, particularly Kevin Sorbo, tweeting out that this guy is actually Antifa. They're Antifa people pretending to be Trump supporters.
Did you see Lucy Lawless's tweet to him? Lucy Lawless shat on Kevin Sorbo, and I'm like, I love Lucy Lawless, love her. But she shat on him. So you wonder if they actually got along during the filming of Hercules and Xena Princess Warrior. But I've always been a fan of her. But she just like, oh no, Cup. What she's called him, princess, or what do you call it? Peanut. Yeah,
call him Peanut.
It was just brutal. Kevin Sorbo, I'm sorry, dude. You have lost your fucking mind, dude. I don't know.
Somebody in the chat said earlier that apparently Kevin Sorbo said in an interview that his son runs his Twitter account.
That's what I'm wondering. I was going to ask like that. Do you think that's actually him? Because it just, my God,
I mean,
it's
we know he's really religious, right?
Yeah, right. God,
dead. Yeah, and he's definitely like the pro-gun, pro-Trump,
which is not near enough. But do you think that it could have been somebody else that tweeted some of this stuff? I mean, he's not said anything though.
I think there's two things. Res Instance for 10 says, Trump supporters are stupid, color me shocked.
Yeah, right?
The thing is that even if your son is running your Twitter account, running the account doesn't mean you say whatever you want on it. It's still supposed to be, in general, the views and what's supposed to be said gets confirmed. So shirking responsibility for your own account to your son is still going to be bullshit anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, is he retracting anything? If he's not retracting anything, then he endorses it, right?
I agree. That's how I look at it. Yes.
Yeah. So.
All right. So
I don't think that's good enough.
So as of this morning, I guess they have started an impeachment process. There are articles that have been written. I have that, and we will go over that here in a second. But the way the impeachment process works is that they will write up an article. They have one count. They send it to the House. If the House votes to impeach, then they can send it to the Senate, and they're probably going to wait to do that. They'll probably wait quite some time to do that after Trump is out of office. So he probably won't be impeached again. Obviously, while he's in office, there's just not enough time, really. But no, he'll be impeached while he's in office. But the Senate won't vote on it until after he's out of office. But it only takes the House to vote on it to get impeached. That's how it works. He doesn't have to get removed from office. The Senate has to do anything. It's just the House brings formal charges. That's what impeachment means. Now, he'd be the first sitting president to ever been impeached twice, and then they will probably vote that he'll never be able to hold any kind of federal office ever again. That's why I think a lot of them are doing this.
Like the more serious actual shit going on, can we please just quickly go to Kevin Sorbo's Twitter and look? Because I just did, and oh my god.
Yes. I'll pull it up a second.
Just once we're done this stuff.
I'm not gonna read all this. It's just basically we'll get into the impeachment articles here right here. I have that, so we'll go through those. But yeah, let me find Kevin Sorbo's thing, and I'll bring that up in a second. Okay.
Somebody's asking, will Trump still get Secret Service protection if he's removed from office?
Yes, that's the only thing that he can't lose. He'll lose some other privileges, and I heard some golf places are making him lose that kind of stuff too. Yeah. But he cannot lose the Secret Service.
Right. The only way he could lose it is if he requested it. I guess there is a process, and a few presidents have invoked it, where you can request to stop being protected by the Secret Service if you'd like.
And I don't blame them for that. I think they should have the ability to do that. I mean, it must be pretty invasive, you know?
It is. I mean, you can't drive a car ever again for the rest of your life if you have Secret Service protection.
Yeah. Somebody said, are we taking questions? Yeah, of course we're taking questions. What do you got? Somebody asked in the audience, you taking questions? We always take questions.
Oh yeah, we usually do.
I'm just bringing up the Kevin Sorbo thing right now.
We're trying to keep the questions a little bit on topic. That's the only thing. So if you ask something that's like completely out of left field, we'll probably be like, another time.
You know, when you try to find something, you can't. Where's Kevin Sorbo's thing? What is he under? What do you want that?
On Twitter, just type in just search Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, I did, but for some reason.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Here we go. I found him. All right.
How did you get this wrong?
All right. I got it.
God damn it, Steve.
I have one job.
The boomer doesn't know how Twitter works.
You know, deleting tweets and stuff like that. I'm not even fronting, Ben. I had been accused one time of deleting other people's tweets, and I'm like, that's how this works.
Yeah.
That's how bad these people try to character assassinate me. I'm able to do things that just are impossible. I'm like, no, that's never happened.
That sounds like something G-Man would accuse someone of,
right?
But I don't think G-Man uses Twitter.
No, he's a big Skype fan.
I kind of want him back on Twitter because that's hilarious. Or I want him on Twitter so he can just tweet his crazy stuff on there.
It'd be easier, right?
Yeah.
I try not to encourage people to get Twitter.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to anybody, not even G-Man. All right, so this is Kevin Sorbo and
look at the pinned tweet.
The pinned tweet. Raise your hand if you're more concerned about losing your constitutional rights than you are about COVID. Wow. No, I'm not worried about losing my constitutional rights because there's so many safeguards in place. No, I'm not. So,
but I mean, like Trump was trying to take away constitutional rights.
Yeah. And on an individual level, it might. I mean, in some small places, you still have to fight for your rights to exercise them. But as of right now, there's nobody's going to come in and say, "Look, we're going to take all your guns." That's never going to happen.
So if you look at what that says, it says December 29th, 2020, and it's still up. So if the rumor is true that it's his son running the account, why is this still the pinned tweet, especially after what just happened?
Yeah, and it does. Again, it all plays into that. Hey, you are a American, and you need to fight for these rights, and you need to go stand up. And it all plays in their mind of, oh, we need a violent overthrow. They had gone there with the expectation of having a violent overthrowing of the government.
It's crazy.
I would tell you, I love talking to Kevin.
He's complaining about Trump getting taken off of Twitter after inciting violence.
That would be awesome, Ben, to get Kevin Sorbo on Drunken Peasants. I mean, he doesn't do any of those things, I don't think. But man, that would be brilliant.
Somebody purchased a cameo with him for us. It was pretty hilarious.
I wanted to do that with Blair. What's her Blair? Blair. Ergenstein, or the one that the comedian that does all the parodies on Twitter. I love her. She's funny as hell. She was doing cameos. I'm thinking about doing something like that. Have you seen her? She does the Magatine. I'm a Magatine.
I'm not familiar.
I'm a Magatine. I'm here to burst your liberal spleen. Oh, she's a riot, man.
That's like the OK Boomer girl.
She was so good that actual blue checks where people were taking her seriously. They're like, okay, and even these days, even my friends were like, man, this chick is crazy. I'm like, no, she's brilliant. She's a satirist.
There's this DP fan that has a cockatiel, and he always sends us Streamlabs requesting that we say Dusty's a beautiful bird. And he also goes around and buys these cameos. He did one from Tom Arnold. He did one from Kevin Sorbo. He gets these random people on Cameo talking about
bird?
About the bird and about Drunken Peasants. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's kind of nice.
And he also sends us videos of him farting in public. And there was one, he was like at Applebee's with his mom, and he's like, "Mom, I'm about to fart, and I'm gonna name it Pimp Monk."
I've seen those.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So this person was asking, the person who asked to ask questions, asked earlier, but on Parler before it was shut down, they were calling for mass violence and executing the left. And then they also asked, being a vet, do you have any particular advice for civilians if they start shooting at us across the nation for a one-day war?
Run, barricade yourself in. I mean, look, here's a reality. If the government is going to like do something to the people, you're outgunned. Okay, you're just outgunned. But if you want to keep yourself safe, the best thing to do is stay at home. Don't go to Washington D.C. on the 19th or 20th. Just don't do it.
Scroll down some more in this. This gets more ridiculous.
It almost seems like the inauguration should be in a more secure location this time too.
Well, I think it's going to be a private thing. Probably it's probably going to be in a secure.
Probably.
Rick and Morty.
I like Rick and Morty.
And then he's talking about fascism. So essentially, he's continuing to support and push on this rhetoric that the left is fascist for some reason, and conspiracy theories and etc. And it's like now he's complaining about Parler.
Blair Erskine.
If his son is running it and he has zero control over it, he needs to take his son off of it. And if he's not taking his son off of it, it means he supports it, so he's still just as responsible.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably him. But her name is Blair Erskine. Look her up. She made herself famous off of one or two things on Twitter, and just basically has been playing on that ever since. And she's so good. Every video she puts out is.
Is she the same woman who was talking like one of the elected officials was her?
Yeah, like yeah. She plays like she'll be like my husband. This she's like the wife. Yeah. She's the ex-wife of the guy that stole the podium. Yeah, she plays that part.
She's funny.
Yeah, it's when he brought home the podium, we just thought we would sell it on eBay and pay for our 5 kids. Freedom, justice. She's just hilarious, man.
Oh no!
But yeah, Kevin Sorbo's thing. I'm telling you, he's an anti-masker too. He's evangelical, and that's one of the reasons why. Though, I've never seen God. What is it? God.
Can you believe that we have a group of people called the anti-maskers? What the fuck is this world?
Well, yeah, and they deny the science too. It's like okay, I hate to say it, but
and then they commit crimes and don't hide their face because they're so anti-masker.
Even I don't get it. Even David Silverman was sitting there on Twitter going, "Well, do you have any peer-reviewed papers that COVID is transmitted through the nose?" It's like the nose is connected to the mouth. If it comes out the mouth, it can come out the nose. They're the same passageway here. Do you need a peer-reviewed paper to?
I like seeing Manya flip back at him with a condom analogy. He flipped it back to be like, okay, so if you have an STD and you don't know you have an STD, are you still responsible for wearing a condom?
His argument was just completely ridiculous, and I'm like, okay. Then they have the equivalence fallacy. If you believe in science of mass but not the science of life beginning at conception, then you do not believe in science. You believe a political ideology. No, that's
so. Of course, he's
the
also anti-choice. So of course he's also anti-choice.
Yeah, I mean, but all right. So enough with him. All right, so
sorry, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, let's get into the articles of impeachment. It's not very long. It's the 117th Congress, first session. This was I think drafted obviously over the weekend probably, and then submitted today. The Cinephiliac for $2.99. Ben got that girly hair. Steve McRib, sweet boy. Thank you. Yeah. By the way, Ben works very hard for his hair. I was going over his preparatory things this morning before we went live. That he had to look pretty before he came on air, like he always does.
I had to wait for it to dry. Yeah.
Do you use a straightener?
No. Just shampoo and conditioner, and then I let it air dry. I have this thing where I have to do cardio when I first wake up in the morning and then before bed at night. So I had to wash my hair, otherwise it'd be like crazy, sweaty, nasty grease hair. You know what I mean?
I don't blow dry my hair as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I do let mine air dry more now, only because it cuts down the frizz.
Yeah. I try not to.
All right, so let me fix this real quick. Give me 1 second.
I'm impressed that your hair is able to just be that straight. That like it almost looks like you've got like a flat iron.
Or blowout.
Oh no.
All right, so people should be able to see this pretty easy now.
Now we know it's au natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. And that's a very specific term, by the way. But that's one of the few things that can be considered treasonous. By the way, it's high crimes and misdemeanors. And that's like giving aid to the comfort to the enemy. That basically they're saying to him, hey, you might have done stuff that's treasonous, but you have violated your oath of office, is what this comes down to. You want to read? Anybody want to read this? Or
I know people have been calling for a couple of other people to resign because they've broken their oaths, and that they should step down and resign.
Well, and they've said that same thing to Trump. Now, a lot of people have said that Pence should resign too, and I disagree. And let me say why. I think it'd be a noble gesture. Don't get me wrong, but right now Pence is the only person that can probably effectively stop Trump with the 25th Amendment if he doesn't resign and he doesn't take this impeachment seriously. And he has actually stood up to Trump. So I say leave him in office.
Who would it fall to after him?
Nancy
if
Pelosi.
That were the case. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right,
she's third in line.
Yeah.
Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. One, resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment is to be exhibited to the United States Senate. Article of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, incitement of insurrection.
Wow. Just right out of the gate, man. And I think there's only one count, but this is it.
Yeah, the last impeachment was way more pages.
Oh yeah.
Than this one.
This is. I mean, this is. You know what? I think that even makes it more effective, because this all it is boom. This is it. It is high crimes and misdemeanors, insurrection, 3 pages long. You're done.
And you don't need to be a lawyer to read it.
Yeah, no, it's very. I read this earlier. It's very plain writing. And I think they wanted to make it very clear. And can you imagine being Trump? Okay, Trump. See, I don't think Trump's taking any of this seriously. But can you imagine if a different president, one that actually cared about, their image and the president has a legacy. Matter of fact, look at Obama. Right. He has a legacy, right? All presidents want their legacy. That's just something that comes along with
every president position. Every president in recent history has a presidential library that holds their writings and their legacy. It's like a museum.
Yeah, and I'm totally cool with that.
Trump tweets.
An actual library of Trump tweets, and there's tens of thousands of books that it just contains his tweets. That would be awesome. Somebody needs to do this. Make it happen. But that would be his legacy, being impeached twice. I mean, you're never going to have a school named after you. You're never going to have a library named after you. You can't get a street named after you at that point. You're a pariah. Oh my! But I love that idea, Chess. I'm serious. Somebody needs to do that. They need to compile from the National Archives, because everything that he's tweeted is on record. They need to compile those and put
I don't think the Republicans want Trump anymore. I think if he runs for president again, it'll be as an independent, which will cause a crazy schism on the right.
Why would he want to?
He won't even get invited to their convention or anything. I don't think they want.
Dude, the man's 70, what, 78 years old, some shit like that? I mean, he's not going to want to.
If that happens.
Is he 76,
If that happens, I would like to see people like Bernie Sanders take advantage of that schism to almost schism the Democrats.
Well, he's up there in age too. I don't think he's going to be available in 4 more years.
Well, it doesn't have to be directly Bernie Sanders, but like that mindset.
Adam Kokesh. Adam Kokesh will take advantage. Adam be like, yes, I have a chance this year.
I mean, maybe.
But I still love that idea. Trump tweeter library.
Twitter archive.
Yeah, Trump Twitter library.
Could you imagine Beauty and the Beast, and Beast opens the door and brings Belle in with her eyes closed, and she opens her eyes and there's all these books, and she goes up and she opens one and it's just like.
And you gotta have it, but you gotta have an interactive hologram of Trump when you walk in.
You know what's the crazy thing about this is that normally when you're done being president, even if it's just for one term, you make a ton of money because you publish your memoirs. Yes. You go on these tours and do public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're getting paid in perpetuity.
Yes, big bucks for that. And Trump just kind of ruined that. I mean, I'm sure it'll still happen to a degree, but not like the other ones.
And worse, it trickles down to Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr. and the entire family stained. I mean, even they've been stained anyways. But
there's a decent chance that a lot of them will be felons in the near future.
By the way, I just
Covfefe. She opens the book and it says Covfefe.
My landlord just knocked on my door, and I don't know why, but he gave me, it's caffeine free, so I can't drink it, but he gave me some Dad's root beer right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
But it's caffeine free. It'd be dishonorable to drink caffeine free drinks during Caffeine Corner, wouldn't it? Should I be a rebel?
Yeah, go for it.
You guys
try it out.
Right. It's Dad's root beer.
By the way, I just looked this up because I wasn't sure if Obama had his presidential library yet, and they're building it right now on the south side of Chicago. It's supposed to be done by the end of this year.
That's delicious.
President Trump's library would be like one of those like slow drive-through roller coasters at Disneyland.
The only
it should just be a website.
The only problem with this is this is 90% of your sugar intake right here for one day. So 90%.
Oh, no, yeah.
90%.
I can't have any of that.
Well, I'm not going to drink the whole thing right now. I've had too much sugar. I've been eating normally. I've been on my diet for the first month. In the last couple of days, I've been eating like to sustain, but I've actually put on a little bit of weight, not much, like a pound or two. And I don't mean like fluctuating. And so, because I do maintain daily, how much I'm weighing. But I seem to have like reached a point, and so either I have to like really start cutting back on calories or exercising more, because I think I've reached that diet plateau.
What about Barron?
I'll be right back, guys. Sorry, I got to step away for a second here.
Yeah.
But Barron, how old is Barron now? He's like an adult now, isn't he? I don't think he's a kid any longer. 16, 17, 18?
14.
14? I mean, okay, maybe he's still a kid. But yeah, I don't think
he's young, but I don't consider 14-year-olds children anymore.
No, I do, but I mean, they're children. Well, I mean, they're children with a little bit more, real life experience.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's 16, or going on 16 here soon. She's 15. She'll be going on 16.
Yeah, it's that in between. You're not quite an adult yet, but you're no longer a child. You are aware enough to start thinking for yourself and making your own decisions at 14.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Hey, look, when my daughter came over the other day, we were for like sitting around for hours, just BSing, and. She's in that stage where she wants to like rebel a little bit. She's got dyed her hair, had piercing, and she's very opinionated. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is you're free to express yourself. I don't have a problem with that, because she's learned a lot about life experience stuff. So, anyways, let's continue.
Barron is like pictures with Barron is the only time you see Melania smiling.
Yeah, no, I think she does. I think she stuck with Trump because of Barron, and I think there was a post-nuptial agreement that she would probably stick with him throughout his presidency. But I think that after his presidency is terminated and he's out, I think she'll file for divorce. I mean, there's this that is a true marriage of
the thing is that she might get caught up in his legal shit too, right?
It's possible, but I mean, I think she's. There's no love there. I think she loves Trump.
That matters. Do you think that Melania might get caught up in Trump's like financial bullshittery?
Wow, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with them.
I doubt it, but I think she's going to file. She'll get 50 to 65 million in a divorce post-nup settlement. But I think she doesn't
have any money though. She's going to take half of his non-existent assets.
He has money. Still has money.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, Did you not watch my 2-hour stream going through the tax shit? Of course you didn't, because it was a 2-hour stream about taxes.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a. If the IRS finds that he whatever tax returns that he got was fraudulent because he didn't pay taxes during The Apprentice, he's going to owe them not only all that money back, but he's going to owe them all that money back with interest and owe them for years that he didn't pay.
What about? I don't know if
he doesn't have any money.
I don't know if so much the federal is, and you might be right, but I thought New York is going to go after him.
Oh, there's more than just New York.
Okay. Because I think it's more likely the state would have a case, but you might be right. All right, continue on with the articles. Let's get through these.
Okay. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the president shall be removed from office on impeachment for the conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Further, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits any person who has, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from, quote, holding any office under the United States.
That's the big thing right there. That's why I think that they're doing this. They don't want him to ever hold office ever again.
And get the money for it.
Or just be a danger.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing is that if he can run again and he's already planned a coup that failed, then what's going to stop him from trying again?
Right.
Right. Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Further, so in his conduct while president of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of president of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve. Oh, you moved it.
Sorry, I got to scroll to the outside.
Protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and in violation of the constitutional duty to take care of the laws be faithfully executed. Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States in that on January 6th, 2021, pursuant to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the Senate met at the United States Capitol for a joint session of Congress to count the votes on the Electoral College. In the months preceding the joint session, President Trump repeatedly issued false statements asserting that the presidential election results were the product of widespread fraud and should not be accepted by the American people or certified by the state or federal officials.
Hang on. So that right there, these are facts. Right? These aren't even opinions so far. These are actually objective facts of what he has done. I mean, he did. Now, whether there's any veracity to the fraud or not is not even relevant at this point. This is what he has done objectively. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Because I think that's critical to point out. They're laying out the case. This is what he's done. You know, we can argue whether or not there was fraud, you know, even though there's been nothing to that. But this is what he has said that has contributed to these riots and high crimes and misdemeanors. I think this is very well written, by the way. Simple, straightforward, and I think that's what makes it most scariest. It wasn't like some large articles of impeachment that they've had before or with like Clinton. This is, dude, you caused an insurrection by claiming there was fraud, widespread fraud that didn't even exist after you've been told it doesn't exist. But yeah, I love that fact that they're just laying it out right here. All right. Did we lose Chesh?
Her camera went off.
Cheshire.
Maybe she had to walk away for a second.
Okay, I'll continue. Shortly before the joint session commenced, President Trump advised a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There, he reiterated false claims that, quote, "We won this election and we won it by a landslide." He also willfully made statement that, in context, encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, quote, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore." I love this. I love the fact that they're putting in these words, his own words, right? Because
that's really bad.
Well, and again, people have to be accountable for the position they're in. When you have the highest person in the land saying, "If you don't fight," and he's going to say, "Well, I just mean like metaphorically or fight for your rights." No. When you put all this in a pattern, you put this all in a holistic type thing. He's calling for an actual insurrection. And when they went down there, he called them "my people." He wasn't denouncing that. He didn't say stop doing this. He didn't do anything to squash it. Yeah, we love you. Exactly. I mean,
he has the best people.
I love the way they're wording this. You want to continue? And Ben, if you want to read, by all means too. But
oh, I don't know where you left off.
That's fine. Chesh can continue right there.
Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the result of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, the vice president, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and
seditious.
What is it? Seditious?
Yeah.
Seditious acts.
I mean, this is brutal. I gotta tell you, this is like legit brutal.
One of the things is that that Helios brought up on Twitter that I saw is that there is now a huge, unfathomable breach of intelligence. Huge. Like, they were in these people's offices. All it would take is a flash drive, and those people wouldn't even had to know what that flash drive is.
Yeah, they were in the speakers.
They took her mail.
The person, who was third in line for the presidency. She has a lot of power, especially now with a new supermajority. Yeah.
I mean, again, like you said, the amount of disconnect going on in their heads. They think they're living in some kind of altered reality kind of thing, or they're playing some kind of game.
Right, they're LARPing.
Let me ask you this, Ben. Let me ask you this before we continue. If that would have been the White House, what do you think would have happened? Especially if Trump had been in the White House at the time.
Oh, man. Well, the Secret Service would have been shooting people for
left
sure.
and right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's also Marines on duty to protect the president, too. I knew a guy who was in the Marines who got a job, being around George W. Bush.
There's a Marine outside that Oval Office at all times. But they called the National Guard, and I don't know if Trump had told them not to. I don't know what happened there, but they did try to get the National Guard. All right, continue on.
I'm just going to get a tea. 1 second.
All right, I'll continue. President Trump's conduct on January 6, 2021, following his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election, those prior efforts included a phone call. I love this, too. They included a phone call on January 2nd, 2021, during which President Trump urged the Secretary of the State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to, quote, find enough votes to overturn Georgia's presidential election results and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. I said that when I heard that phone call, I didn't listen to the whole hour. I listened to the highlights. I said this is treasonous. This well, it is more insurrection. Even though I did say in my mind treason, but I know technically that's a very specific word. But it was a threat. It was called a directive to do something. It wasn't just you think there's any potential that there's some false votes? Do you think there's any possibility that these things were not legit? That wasn't. They were not interrogatives. This was a directive.
he was talking like a mob boss. He was making thinly veiled threats and being like, "Do what you gotta do to find those votes for me.
You know, you gotta take care of this, man. You do what you gotta do. You find those votes for me, man, or not there'll be repercussions." I do a terrible mobster, but that's how people would interpret this and say, "Well, they should," because that's exactly what it was. And I said this phone call is going to be a big deal. It could lead to impeachment. Like, people are like, no, they're not. And I'm like, well, good. I think there's enough evidence there. Certainly. It was bad. And it wasn't just Ratzenberger. He also threatened riot Germany, too. So,
sorry, I just had somebody at my door.
That's fine. All right, we're at number 8 here if you want to continue. Right there you go.
In all this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a
co-equal.
What is that?
Co-equal.
What?
Co-equal.
Co-equal. Oh, co-equal. Branch. Sorry, some of this is hard to read because of the type of text and how big it is on my screen. Co-equal branch of government. He thereby betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Because the thing is, that is one thing that they're not really mentioning right now is there was a physical chest essentially of the votes, and there was also there were 2 chests. And then there was also all of the intelligence in all of those computers that are now all compromised.
Yeah, they had to secure those boxes.
Whatever system they're connected to.
Can you imagine if those people? But can you imagine if those people walked off with those boxes? I mean, it's they'd still would have.
On fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's unreal. Manya says, "Leave the mobster impression to Benpai, please. He makes it intimidating. You look adorable. I'm not an intimidating person. Ben does a better mobster." He must have some Italian mafia in his blood.
I don't at all. I've been to Italy a couple times, but that was more like a New York kind of like something's gonna happen to you. You're gonna be sleeping with the fishes.
How would a Seattle person say that?
Oh man, excuse me. I would like for you to find me some votes, please, if you could.
Too close to Canada.
Yeah, a lot of people though here, they just ignore each other's existence in public.
Well, you got to throw in your threat though. If you please find me these votes, or I will deny you your cappuccino.
If you can find me enough votes to win, I will buy you a cup of clam chowder.
I'll get you a free Starbucks. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Continue on. Number 15, I think we're on.
Wherefore art thou? Wherefore Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, it's the intelligence stuff, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. Donald John Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States.
Yeah, that's why they're impeaching them. I think the vast majority of the reason to prevent him from ever holding office for any kind of political get money or to have trust or anything like that. He's done. This is the worst possible thing that could happen to a president. Probably they're
and they can keep it going. They can keep it going after he leaves office.
Oh, it's like I said. This is not going to go to the Senate before he leaves office. That's a given.
Right.
But I mean, then it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. It doesn't matter. He'll be impeached twice at that point. It's just, he's screwed. I know what he's raging.
Not far enough ahead to realize that like maybe in his mind he thinks that if he's out of office they can't touch him anymore.
No, he has people that tell him these things, right? I mean, he has people tell him, look, you're screwed here. It's probably the best thing you can do is just resign, which he's never going to do because, again, he's worried about his image. It's all about image with him.
Well, it's more than just his image, right? Because I think a lot of this is a straight up just what's the straight up just desperation of how much trouble he knows he's going to be in once he's out of office and doesn't have protection from being the president.
Right, and I've said that before too. I've said that I think it's fear. I think he's fearful because once he loses those presidential protections, right, he knows that he's going to be up for civil litigation, criminal charges, New York, federal. I mean, a lot of people want to bite his ass, right? They want a piece of him bad, and they're going to get their shot. And now that if he gets impeached twice and he doesn't have the ability to make any profit off anything, or people not going to have him around because he's a pariah, his legacy is done. And he never really had a legacy to begin with, but this is just icing on the cake, man. What a way to go out.
His contributions that he gets from his supporters are protected as election finance, so it's like a totally different thing. So that it'll strip him of that.
Yeah. Now,
so that's a big change.
Tom says Dershowitz argues you can't be impeached after you leave office, which is fine. Doesn't matter. He'll be impeached tomorrow.
Well, yeah,
they're going to vote tomorrow, probably the next day.
The trial can continue after he leaves office.
Right, but the impeachment is only through the House, so all the House has to do is vote on it tomorrow. He's impeached. Period. Done.
I feel like Trump's ego controls him more than anything else, and it's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel like losing his Twitter was a bigger blow to him personally than losing the presidency.
To some degree,
he's so upset. He's so mad.
I think that was that's like when you take the white glove and you just smack somebody. That's basically what they did. That's what Twitter did and the people did.
That's a face to his ego.
Yeah, because I think you're right. Because again, he bases a lot of his own personal standing on his following. I mean, I got 73 million subs, kind of thing. Where the hell it was. That to me indicates that it's all about, again, he needs that validation. He needs that narcissistic supply. He's been told all his life how great he is and everything, even though he wasn't even at mediocre level, right? I mean, he's substandard in just about everything.
The thing is, he doesn't read the replies, and a huge percentage of his followers are hate followers that just wait for him to say stuff so they can reply to it. So, I would say anywhere from like a quarter to half of his followers were hate followers.
He's never engaged with any of them, right? I've never seen him.
No, I don't believe so.
I've never seen him respond to anybody, has he?
I think I've heard that he's blocked people before. But
I think they can't on his personal account. I think didn't. Okay, I know on the POTUS he can't block anybody. But didn't they rule that even on his personal he couldn't block anybody because it was?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of that, but I had heard something to that effect.
Yeah.
So if he's not engaging with people, it's literally he would just post something and then let it sit there and then ignore it because he just wants to vomit.
He doesn't care about the feedback.
Yeah,
no,
it's kind of in line,
I think he does
right?
a little bit.
It's in line with his shtick. He just wants other people to hear what he says.
I think he does.
Hear what other people say, right?
But I think some of the negative things do fester with him. I think he does. If you attack his,
he's really mad with Fox News reporting things a little bit more accurately than they normally do sometimes,
which is surprising. Even Fox jumped ship. They said we had enough of this. But you question anything with his masculinity or anything like that? Yeah, he does lose his shit. And Jamie, I don't think he's going to resign. I'm not under any disillusion that Trump is going to do the honorable thing and resign. If he hasn't done anything honorable up to this point, why would he be doing anything honorable in the last 9 days of his presidency?
I always thought Donald Trump was just fine as an entertainer. He was like famous throughout my entire life. He was involved in wrestling, which I was a huge fan of for most of my life. It was when he started dipping his toes into politics and promoting conspiracy theories, like that Obama was born in Africa.
Yeah, the birther thing
kind of stuff.
That was weird.
Yeah, and that gave him this weird political traction that I knew was dangerous even back then. That he was getting a weird, he was pushing these weird xenophobic views and conspiracy theories, questioning certain things about people of certain races, that I knew it was getting bad. And when he started gaining a lot of traction, it got scary, but I did not think he could possibly win because of how awful he was. But I realized he brings out the awful, he validates the awful views of awful people. And that's how he gained the traction. There's a lot of people who were validated in acting like a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the toxic gun kind of culture. And that doesn't mean all gun culture. That means, like, the toxic bit. That doesn't mean everybody who owns a gun is toxic and everybody who wants gun rights is toxic. No. You have to acknowledge that there's a toxic group with, like, subgroup within that group that are just a bunch of assholes. Like with most groups that have an agenda or have an opinion will have a toxic chunk of those people as soon as you get a certain size. It's just how it is.
Yeah, apparently in 2018, that's when the U.S. court said
a lot of racism.
He has to block people.
A lot of racism for people, like a lot of racism. Why? I'm not sure why the white nationalists clung to him so.
Because they were the
hard.
best that he had. They can get, and they could use him as a vehicle. But yeah. So it is. Trump can't block people, I guess, from the U.S. Supreme Court. But yeah, I think that the white nationalists. Okay, because it wasn't so much Trump's rhetoric per se, but they thought that his xenophobia would be basically translated to their agenda, right? So it's they're in some ways, right? I mean, they're I wouldn't say they're directly parallel with each other.
There had to be they had to like selectively ignore a lot of things about Trump for them to the white nationalists specifically. They had to ignore a lot of things about Trump for them to like follow him. For one thing, Trump has a lot of Jewish people in his family, like his Ivanka converted to Judaism because she's married to Jared Kushner. White nationalists do not like Jewish people.
Well, and Trump is married to Melania, who is not American.
Right.
An immigrant.
Yes. I mean, Trump's mom was an immigrant. There's a lot of immigrants in Trump's family. 2 out of his 3 wives are immigrants, and his mother was an immigrant. And actually, his grandfather, who brought the Trump lineage to the United States, was from Germany and died of the Spanish flu, strangely enough.
That is
back in 1919.
Yes. The thing is like he also had to make some concessions or do some very specific ignoring of them too. So like they both decided to sort of ignore the faults in the other one.
They ignored that it was so weird because there was evidence that Bill Clinton was buddies with Epstein and, a couple other people on the left. But then there's video of Epstein at Trump's house partying with him, like hanging out with a bunch of ladies, like drinking.
And his daughter.
So Epstein, not a suicide. I'm
sure. Something.
I
don't
think
there.
it was. I think there's something more going on with that.
Something weird.
I am going to be right
there.
back, though. Okay, give me
something
2
weird
minutes.
happened there, but I mean. It's weird how Bill Clinton was affiliated with Epstein and there was other people on the left, but Donald Trump was buddies with Epstein. Right. So whatever excuse, Donald Trump was like, oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of him now. It's like, okay. So it's that easy. It's that easy of an explanation.
I have a question for you, actually. There was a huge disparity, because Golden Unicorn pointed it out, between the way Fox News treated and spoke about Melania and how they treated Obama's wife, Michelle. Like, just like the way... Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. Of course. Well, first of all, Melania is just like Donald's little trophy that he carries around. You know what I mean?
He's a trophy
Michelle
wife,
Obama Obama actually had an active role and took place in policy choices and other stuff like that. She was more like some first ladies are more active and hands-on, like they get involved in certain things, and then some just sit back and be a spokesperson in a way. I don't know. So Michelle Obama actually got involved, and it was in causes that Fox News, of course, is going to shit on.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I expect that to happen. Yeah. I expect that to happen.
And like, because she wasn't as involved, there wasn't as much to shit on her for anyway.
Well, and they wouldn't. If she was involved, it'd be like all Trump-related stuff, and they would praise it. But if Michelle Obama had kept her mouth shut and didn't like she was one of her big things that she first got into was like school lunches, like
Yeah,
nutritious
yeah.
school lunches, and they shit on her so bad for that over the years.
Yeah, which is
Like, what are
bizarre.
you yeah, they like criticized her like, who's she to tell our kids what they should eat? You know, it's like, well, there's health problems that affect all of us and raise the cost of healthcare as a result of it. Like society bears the burden of unhealthy citizens. So it's important at that age when someone's growing and developing to have more nutritious food instead of like French fries and pizza every day for like school lunches. And there's like parents that don't have a lot of money that would like send their kids to school with like a bag of Doritos and a 2 liter of Mountain Dew as their lunch.
Look, I've already said that Americans do not understand nutrition. They don't
right.
The vast majority do not know protein from fat. They don't give a shit.
And that's why and we were mentioning that because we were talking about like one of the things Michelle Obama got involved in first
was lunches.
That like Fox News shit on her was like healthy lunches for kids.
And I'm all for those types of programs because I could tell you right now that schools had crappy lunches. They were not there for the nutrition. They were basically these big businesses. They got these contracts. Whoever got the lowest bid got the contract. It wasn't about the quality of food. It was whoever got the lowest bid, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
Now.
There's also like the little bit of racist aspect in there, I think, with Fox News.
Oh, of course.
Well, you're just attacking her for like unreasonable garbage.
Oh, and then there's the actual. I don't think Fox News has done this, but maybe it has. But then there's like the fringe conspiracy crowd that believes she's actually a trans woman.
That was hilarious. I gotta admit, that was hilarious. They did a really good job at trying to spin that.
Oh my God, it's mind blowing, but people believe it.
But again, go after people personally is what people do, right?
Yeah.
Now look at this is what I indulge in.
Foreigner.
This is my indulgence right there, Ben.
I don't even think Michelle is a foreigner though.
No.
She's not, like, she's American, right?
Yeah.
So they're against the born-bred American woman because of her skin tone, but they're fine with Melania.
And she's smarter and more involved, and I mean,
Melania's just a figurehead. I mean, she's just a pretty face at this point.
She's a trophy.
Yeah, a trophy.
She's Trump's trophy.
And she knows that she that's what she wanted to be.
She
basically
was a model.
Yeah.
She wasn't like, I think Michelle Obama was like a lawyer or something.
Yeah. And look, I mean, props to Trump being. Now it is a matter of convenience. They probably haven't touched each other in 40 years, but he's like, well, again, 76, 78. She's 50, and by the way, looks amazing for 50, right?
Yeah, she looks nice. And then they have a young son who's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's tall. I was looking at the pictures. Barron's tall as hell.
He's like 7 feet tall almost. He's probably like 6'7", 6'8". That's what he looks like. It's crazy.
I still think she's going to file for divorce at some point.
Probably.
You can just tell they hate each other, or she hates him at least.
Well, there's no value to the relationship anymore.
None. So. All right. Well,
how do you afford a trophy wife if you're broke?
Well, and again, she probably was on some kind of post-nuptial agreement. I think she had probably a prenup initially and then kind of modified. But I don't think she has any obligation. I think she probably stuck around for Barron, and for other reasons to get whatever she was promised to stick around for.
When Arnold Schwarzenegger left office, when like everything came out about he had a secret son that was like a teenager that no one knew about. Shortly after, Maria Shriver filed for divorce. So I think politically that kind of stuff happens. I think Tipper Gore did the same thing too. After Al Gore got out of politics shortly after. So
yeah,
it happened.
Yeah, I remember Maria Shriver did.
That they give Ivanka a pass. Ivanka is far more involved in policies and politics, and
way more than she should be too. She's not qualified for half that stuff, and she's got her hands dirty in a lot of different
Can we
things
all agree
too.
that Jared Kushner is like some kind of ghoul, though, like a robot ghoul or something?
Well, he used to be very involved with Democrats before he married into the Trump family. Yes, I
Oh,
think he might have been buddies with Michael Moore at one point. I think him and Michael Moore did some
Really?
work together. I
that's
believe
bizarre.
so. I'm pretty sure.
So do you think it's just for money then?
Well, I think he married into the Trump family and
Got bullied.
I
Well,
think in the
if-
Trump family, Donald said what he says goes, and that's why he has a niece that's fed up with him that was outing all the dumb shit he's done in private, and then he's got like his sisters and stuff that secretly hate him but are like all afraid to talk about him.
I
So
wonder
yeah,
if they will once he's out of office. If
Ivan-
they'll just be
Ivan-
like, all right, we can talk now.
Hey, look, Ivanka and Jared are already social pariahs. I mean, they've already been just relegated to the table, the far next to the kitchen kind of thing. Nobody wants to even sit with them. We've got a Manya for $20 says there are free lunch programs for kids in India. There is still discrimination, but Indians do understand that some parents send children to school just in hopes of getting one meal a day for them.
That happens
Yeah.
in America
Yeah,
and
it
in
happens
Canada
here.
also.
and
Yeah.
there's way more people in India than the United States. So if they can cover it, why can't we?
Yeah, India is a pretty
Right.
big. They have a lot. I mean, they're
the
popular.
second
largest
Yeah,
country
they're
by
huge.
population.
I do like that Steve said we got a Manya for $20. I feel like Manya is probably more expensive than that.
Oh yeah. Worth every penny though. It's Manya.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, she's a golden unicorn, man. She's. I'm just reading some things that people have sent me real quick. I don't know what half this stuff is, but
We are almost at the 2-hour mark, by the way.
yeah, we're gonna be wrapping it up. I don't know what this is from. So somebody sent me this. U.S. Department of State. Donald Trump's term ended 2021 1/11 at 1944/12. So at 7 o'clock on the 11th. That's got to be UDT time. So Donald Trump's term ended today, according to the State Department, is what I have a screenshot was. They said that's no longer up. But this was here. I'll show you what somebody sent me here. So give me a second here. Maybe you guys can make heads or tails of this, because I haven't followed what the impeachment proceedings is, but they have to vote on it, so the Senate couldn't do that today, anyways. Obviously, but
Right.
But this
It would only be this way if he like resigned or something, or there was the 25th.
So this is what somebody had sent to me. If you guys can see that.
Yeah, I see this. So this is a screenshot?
This is a screenshot of the State Department. Yeah.
Yeah, so it says Donald J. Trump's term ended on 2021-01-11-19-44-12.
Yeah.
January 20th, 2017 to present.
Don't know what this means.
I mean, this could be fake. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The person who posted. Oh, hold on. They sent something in. The
If Trump was removed from office, it would be everywhere. People in the chat would be telling
Yeah,
us.
I don't think that's happened. Obviously,
a disgruntled staffer.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it says.
Yeah, it could
Sources,
be.
Yeah.
Sources tell BuzzFeed News a disgruntled staffer is behind the State Department's
Oh, that's
site
what it
change
is?
of Trump Pence biographies.
Oh, seriously? That'd be. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Fired, but that's if it's worth it. But damn, people are pissed. But wow.
Oh my God! Somebody wrote Trump on a manatee.
Brett King.
Somebody mutilated a manatee.
Do we have a situation?
Here,
YouTube
send it.
nuked Brett Keen's channel. It's hilarious.
Yeah. What is that? I don't see. I don't know why all these channels I mean, I know why Brett Keane probably got nuked.
Right.
But I mean, what was the straw? Because Brett Keane's around for a long time. What is it about things that YouTube is finally going, hey, this is enough? Because there are some channels that I've never had a TOS violation. I know where that line is.
I would say probably. I mean, he's already been banned.
But what was his violation?
And, I mean, a lot. Well, who knows this time?
Well,
I mean, he makes videos saying that people are dead that aren't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he does.
Yeah.
I also think that it might not be him in particular. I think YouTube's been under a little bit more pressure.
It looks like his BitChute might even be gone.
Trump. Well, see, when it came to Brett, he had been banned before, and I think he got a lifetime ban, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a lifetime ban years and years and years.
Yeah.
He used to make videos of him flagging people.
Yeah. He actually was one of the first ones to start with the whole "I'm going to DCMA you to harass you, get your information, then dox you."
Or he would also do like just flags. He would say your video's homophobic.
Yeah.
There was a guy back in the day, Coughlin 666, and there's a video. It's still up somewhere. People have mirrored it since then, of him going around to every video on this guy's channel and be like, well, I think this one might be homophobic. And he flags it.
And he's recording it, and he records himself doing it.
Yes. Yeah. So he's one of the few people where, like, if he gets flagged, I don't feel bad, because he unapologetically went around like purposefully flagging and lying about it to get people he didn't like banned from the website.
He was one of the original false flaggers.
He was just he was just breaking terms of service. So just because he gets caught on something else doesn't mean that he didn't still break terms of service in other ways, right?
Yeah, and false flagging is a weapon that still YouTubers use to this day, and those ones you got to watch out for.
Yeah. If you want to pull up the tweet I just sent you, and we should probably wrap up.
All right, let me find that real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to read it while you pull it up. Help find who mutilated a manatee. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services is investigating who carved the word Trump on a Florida manatee. USFWS is looking for any information. I do not like that. Call Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Hotline at 888-404-3922.
Fucking throw... Oh, man, that's disgusting. Yeah, because they're very timid, like, gentle creatures.
Yeah, that person should get life imprisonment. I agree. It's disgusting.
They're like harmless. So someone had to like seek out one that like just sat there and trusted it while it mutilated it. Yeah, that's hard. That's awful. I hate it when people abuse animals. It really makes me mad.
Hey, look, that's one thing in fact, Chester and I were talking about the end of the day. People that like hate dogs, just like that, those are like a litmus test. I have an issue with them, right? The people that don't
like dogs, I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, but the people that don't actively harm an animal, you're automatically a shit person to me. There's just not coming back from that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of these people that are sociopathic would do something to harm animals because I don't think they have any empathy. If they won't have empathy for people, it kind of falls. It's a high probability they might not have empathy for animals as well. That doesn't necessarily have to follow, but
either. Like if you did you manage to find it?
Yeah, I already pulled it up and put it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's across its whole body. It's not like small carved in. It's like across its back. Discovered in the blue hole on the Homosassa River, the USFWS is looking for any information regarding the harassment of this animal. And then there's a hotline for it.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So, if anybody's in Florida and knows anything about this, shout out to.
And somebody who's obviously a diver. This is somebody who is probably a professional, or a well-skilled diver. And how did they discover this? Because somebody who did this would have to have it. They would want it to seen, I would imagine.
I found the article. Federal officials are looking into the harassment of a manatee that had the word Trump scraped into its back, according to the report. Investigators discovered the manatee over the weekend, according to Citrus County Chronicle. The animal was found in the blue hole on Homosassa River, and the report stated the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Blah, blah, blah.
Weird.
Here's the video.
I almost feel bad calling Brett Keane manatee because manatees are great. I used to live in Columbus, Ohio, and they have a giant aquarium there that two manatees live in. And I would just sit and watch them float around and eat lettuce. They're so like gentle and timid and like, I don't know. Why would someone want to fuck with an animal like that? It's unbelievable.
Anyway,
it looks like the animal might not be terribly harmed.
It looks like a scrape. Yeah,
it's still
not that deep.
it might actually just be the algae off of its back.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm looking at it carefully. It doesn't look like it's too deep. It looks like it's actually.
If it is just algae, they still shouldn't mess with it. But if it's not actually harmed, that's a little different.
I don't think it loses anything.
It kind of depends on what you consider harmed, because the algae is kind of part of its ecosystem.
Yeah.
So damaging the algae surrounding or on the manatee is still bad for the manatee.
I think it's suffering.
Protected.
I don't think it's suffering.
So if you shaved my head and shaved Trump into the side, like in my hair, yeah, my hair's gonna grow back, but that's still a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go out with Trump on your head. That's gonna be great. Yeah.
None of the other manatees are gonna want to be friends with this manatee now. Look at what you did.
He'll be ostracized. Yeah. All right, guys, we are gonna wrap this up. It has been 2 hours. Ben, I want to thank.
It's harassment though, and not like harm. It's listed as harassment.
It's molestation, and I don't mean as in like sexual, but it is considered called molestation. But Ben, I want to thank you for joining us today, man. Always a pleasure. I think I'm gonna.
Buy more.
I'm gonna be joining. I think you on the 16th. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, go check out Drunken Peasants, a staple of the YouTube community. Plus, you have your own channel, Benpai, and you've also got Tap, right?
Yep. Tap is on the Benpai channel.
Yeah, that's right. Do you have any other? You have other channels too, right?
I mean, I have
your live channel or something like backup.
Backup stuff. Yeah.
I'm going live tomorrow. I'm going to be looking at the little speech that Trump gave, and somebody wrote somebody wrote an article, but instead of writing an article, they did it on Twitter, so it's 200 tweets long. So I'm going to be going through that tomorrow.
Oh, good grief! Hope they used.
I got through like the worst shit that.
You can have that bot that unroll.
That's okay. I've got it already set up.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this, and as always, we appreciate comment, subscribe. We try to get to all your comments, so please leave them. We appreciate it. And Jess, you got anything coming up you want to plug?
Just tomorrow.
That's it?
Once my foot gets better, I'll do more Beat Saber.
Oh, yeah. She damaged her moneymaker. Man,
my foot's fucked up.
People love her feet, and so, I don't know. It's a foot thing,
man. That's from Ben. That's from them. That was from Drunken Peasants.
I don't judge.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was, remember stomping on Cheetos kind of thing with her feet?
Stomping on Cheetos.
That's hilarious.
A girl's got to make a living, Ben. Good night.
Bye, guys.